Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
It is Locked In here on the Ref. I am Parker Thune. Grayson Singleton is out today. Grayson Singleton is, do we know where he is? Josh, I assume he has some sort of scheduling conflict. He just does so much for the folks over at krefsports.tv. He's got to be tied up calling a game or something, right?
I think he's under the weather.
Oh, is he really?
Is my understanding that, I don't know, he's –
well,
hopefully he's in bed resting, drinking fluids, and getting well.
I hope so. I haven't heard from him today, so I figured he was out calling baseball or softball or something of that ilk. But we do not have Grayson today. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, Mr. Helmer, we get to share an hour together. We did a show together last week, first time in a while, and look, here we are again, little encore performance.
Very fun.
How about let's start off with this, because this caught my attention just a few moments ago, and this ties into a conversation that Grayson and I were having on the air yesterday about who might challenge OU for the distinction of holding the number one class in the 2027 cycle when all is said and done. Because as we know, Oklahoma has the number one recruiting class in America right now for the 27 cycle. It seems like it's going to be tough to knock them off that pedestal when you look at both quality and quantity of the commits that Oklahoma has added to their 2027 class to date. But we talked quite a bit yesterday about Ohio State and the threat that they might present to Oklahoma's seat at the top, if you will. Another program, though, that could crash the party, that could horn in on the Sooners' action, is Texas Tech. Because, as everyone knows by now, Texas Tech got money, Josh. Texas Tech got money, and they are spending it. They picked up a new commitment this morning from four-star linebacker Jaden Nelson out of the Houston area. And in an interview with Sam Spiegelman of Rivals, breaking down his decision, Jaden Nelson said the following, and I quote, "They gave me a deal I couldn't pass up."
That makes sense. That's tough to turn down. Got that old Godfather offer.
They're not really shy about it, and they haven't been. I mean, we all understand how they got Brendan Sorsby out of the portal. We all understand how they managed to sign not only Felix Ojo, five-star offensive tackle last cycle, but the number one edge in the 27 cycle who reclassified into 26, LaDamian Guyton out of the state of Georgia. How does a kid from the state of Georgia wind up at Texas Tech? Well, in the modern era, in the NIL era, the playing field has been leveled. A lot of those geographical advantages, even prestige advantages that existed for certain schools in the olden days, i.e. pre-2021. It feels so radically different today than it did even 5 years ago when we think about what the recruiting landscape across the country looks like. Because it used to be that every program thrived on certain hotbeds. You know, you had your regions of the country where your program or your coaching staff had strong relationships and they'd be able to pull talent out of there. And you still see those, Josh, but it's not as much of a concentration for many programs now that they know that the almighty dollar is going to be a major factor in getting a kid to go pretty much anywhere. I mean, we see kids commit, even sign, without ever taking a visit to their school of choice because the contract jives with what they or their representation want.
And if you're one of these financial backers here for Texas Tech, it's different because Indiana obviously went transfer portal heavy, but got off to a fast start with Curt Signetti via the portal. And then that initial success from year one kind of parlayed that into, again, some transfer portal success that probably had some financial components attached to it. Looking at Fernando Mendoza, namely, you see that if you're somebody that's backing Texas Tech or some of these other spendy programs. And I could see where folks could convince themselves, okay, we can win, and we can win big quickly with the right kind of investment.
Hit us up on the First Liberty Bank text line if you have questions, comments, concerns. You want to talk spring ball, you want to talk recruiting, got anything you want to throw at us, by all means do so. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line. Bank like a champion with First Liberty Bank, and text like a champion here on Locked In, which is brought to you today and every day by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. Family owned and operated. Many of their employees have been with the company for 20-plus years and are eager to serve you before, during, and after the buying process. Dorsey Jones also offers exceptional service as well, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. So many reasons to head out to El Reno and check out Dorsey Jones. And you brought up Indiana, and you brought up Curt Signetti. And I think there are two individuals right now that their level of impact is certainly not comparable. I mean, all respect to the other individual that I'm about to mention, but he has not accomplished nearly as much at his current institution as Curt Signetti has. But I think the two individuals that have the most potential over the next couple of years to reshape how recruiting and talent acquisition occurs at the overwhelming majority of P4 programs and even the FBS at large are Signetti and Jim Naggie. Because if we're going to tie this back to Texas Tech, let's just use Texas Tech as an example of a program that has immense resources. There is a lot of money. There is a lot of financial backing behind what Texas Tech is doing. But getting the talent is only half the battle. You got to have a coaching staff. You got to have a head ball coach that can get the most out of the roster. That's the reason Indiana won the national championship. It's not because that roster was rife with blue chippers. It's because Curt Signetti is one heck of a ball coach, and somehow he managed to squeeze more out of that Indiana Hoosiers team than any other coach has ever squeezed out of any team of a comparable talent level in modern college football history. And so if you're Joey McGuire, you gotta be feeling a little bit uneasy in that capacity because, yes, it's exciting to be the head coach at a place like Texas Tech. It's exciting to be the head coach at a place that, it feels like they have limitless money right now. But it puts a lot of pressure on you.
Gotta
as
win.
Well, because you got to win. You got to win. The talent is going to keep coming. You're not going to have to worry about that. But if you don't win, and especially now that Indiana has climbed the mountaintop, and you can cite such a program that, much like Texas Tech, has not historically been a powerhouse in the sport, but yet they were able to reach the zenith of the sport in the year of our Lord 2026. Now the pressure's on if you're Joey McGuire, because at what point, if you struggle to get to that level or even approach that level in the next couple of years, are there conversations being had above your pay grade about whether or not it might be better for the program to replace you with somebody that can get Texas Tech to that mountaintop, get them over that hump? And so what I would call the Signetti standard, which is a pretty impossible standard to live up to, Josh, it's something that I think is going to have a ripple effect across the sport because coaches are going to have more expected of them because so many athletic directors and so many key figures across athletic departments everywhere are going to find themselves asking, if Signetti can do it at Indiana, why can't we do it here?
Sure.
But also, I want to pivot and talk about Jim Naggie for a second. Because if you're not at the University of Oklahoma and you're just a casual outside observer associated with any of the other P4 schools in the nation, of which there are, 60-something, and you're looking at what Oklahoma is doing in the 2027 cycle, Jim Naggie's first full cycle as Oklahoma's GM. Whatever he's doing is working because the Sooners are dusting the field on the recruiting trail. Once again, that's only half the battle. You have to get those guys to campus, then you have to coach them up, and you have to get the most out of them. You have to get them playing like a championship team instead of just looking like a championship team on paper. But clearly, what Jim Naggie and his front office are doing at Oklahoma, it works, as evidenced by the fact that Oklahoma has quite literally almost twice as many commits as any other school in the nation here on March 18th, 2026. And by leaps and bounds have the number 1 2027 recruiting class in America. And so, whether that means trying to hire Jim Naggie away from Oklahoma or trying to hire one of Jim Naggie's understudies away from Oklahoma, or simply trying to replicate the structure that Oklahoma has created under Naggie's direction, there are many programs across this sport in the next couple of years, especially if this holds till signing day for Oklahoma and they do wind up with the number 1 recruiting class for the first time in the modern era. There are many programs that, similar to Signetti in Indiana, are going to start looking at what Jim Naggie is doing at Oklahoma, specifically as it pertains to the business of recruiting and talent acquisition, and start asking the question, what do we have to do to get where they are?
What do you think Oklahoma is doing? You start thinking about that. The retention side has been good for Oklahoma. You got stars back. You got your quarterback, John Mateer. You got Satania. You got Kip Lewis. You went and, it's not as though, Parker, they only tossed chips into the high school recruiting pond. Mm-hmm. No, they went and they got Parker Livingston and a number of names, obviously, out of the transfer portal as well to go along with that retention element, and now what they're doing on the high school signing class, in the high school signing class ranks. So you're right. If in Oklahoma already, year 1 of Jim Naggie had major improvement on the football field, was a 10-win team, went to the college football playoff. Now the expectation is Oklahoma should be back in that mix. And if they are, and all of these ingredients are working together, then you're right. Folks are going to look at OU and say, how can we emulate that? What is OU doing that we're not?
And I think the answer, Josh, if I had to quantify what the answer to that question is, I think it just comes down to structure. Jim Naggie, and I've mentioned this before, this was my big apprehension with Jim Naggie when he was hired as GM. I was not concerned with his eyes as a scout. Obviously, his background would suggest he's going to know a good football player when he sees one.
No doubt.
He's going to be able to give the Sooners a leg up in the realm of scouting. But my question was, is somebody that has never before worked in college football going to take this job and be immediately ready to create the necessary processes and protocols to build a functioning, well-oiled machine at this level? Because college football is so unique. So unique. At this point, there has never been more of a difference between the way that professional football operates and the way that college football operates. And that seems kind of counterintuitive because everybody's getting paid at the college level now, just like they are at the professional level. But college football has become such a unique organism that my big question when Naggie took the job was, is he ready for the unique challenges that this moment and this particular situation brings and creates? And he's passed every test with flying colors. And I give credit as well to Joe Castiglione and the Oklahoma Athletic Department, certainly President Joseph HIRES, because he cares about football a lot. They invested, Josh, they were willing to invest in building a front office as robust as any in the country. And I don't have intimate knowledge of every single one of the 60-plus Power 4 football programs' front office structures. But I would safely assume that Oklahoma has one of the deepest front offices in America. They have more positions that exist in their front office than most other programs in America. Think about all the key cogs in the machine, from Naggie as GM to his assistant GMs Taylor Redd and Lake Dawson. Stacy Ford as Director of Player Personnel and Retainment. You've got Charlie Parkinson as Director of College Scouting, Cale Pearson as Director of High School Scouting, Patrick Armstrong as Scouting Coordinator. I know I'm missing a figure or two in that mix as well, but you get the picture. There are a lot of brains working in conjunction to keep Oklahoma a step ahead of the game in the roster management, the talent acquisition department. And so Naggie, no doubt, is the straw that stirs the drink, and his vision is what has enabled all of this to come together the way that it has. But I think especially if this holds till December and Oklahoma does sign the number 1 class, I think that's going to be a signal to many of the other programs across the country, if not all of them. It should be a signal to all of them. All with eyes, that is. All who aren't too stubborn to engage in self-sabotage. What it should signal to every single one of those programs that hasn't invested to the level that Oklahoma has yet in the front office is that this is something we need to do. This is something we need to take seriously. Because we can find guys. We can identify sleepers. We might be able to get on or get in on a kid's recruitment earlier than most other P4 schools in the nation. But if we don't have the skills and resources at our disposal to close these recruitments with authority and efficiency, the way that Oklahoma has time and time and time again in the 2027 cycle, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Gone are the days when being the first P4 school to offer a certain kid is a huge deal and an advantage that you will carry with you throughout that recruitment, Josh. These days, as soon as you identify a kid, more often than not, there are going to be 3 or 4 P4 schools that aren't far behind in getting involved in his recruitment. And then it becomes, more often than not, a dollars and cents game. What offer can you put in front of me? What's the situation that I'll be stepping into? What promises can you make me such that I'm comfortable taking the next step of my football career here?
And give Oklahoma credit. They, to your point, have assembled a legitimate front office. You got Jim Naggie, again, stirring the drink, as it were, but all of those other members of that piece of the organization. And Oklahoma, yes, invested in creating that. And though it probably, Parker, should not have been the most innovative idea of all time, it was innovative that Oklahoma was willing to go out and think about hiring Jim Naggie. That wasn't necessarily the direction that a lot of these college general manager jobs were headed. Oklahoma went that direction, and yes, now they're setting the standard. There's other people that are watching what Oklahoma's doing, and Oklahoma sets the pace. They're seeing what's happening up and down that front office, and there's going to be copycats because that's what sports is, right? It's a copycat business.
U.S. Army Sooner on the text line says, as you know, Parker, college football is an arms race. Somebody discovers a method and others will follow, which speaks to exactly what you just referenced, Josh. And it was and still is a little bit surprising, I think, to many folks that Oklahoma invested to such an extent into a football front office because, let's be perfectly candid here, Oklahoma had a reputation even within its own fan base and kind of still does have a reputation as an athletic department that's not in a hurry to spend gobs of money indiscriminately, the way that others can and do. And so to see the Sooners invest the way that they did into the construction of that front office signified that there was a sincere belief at the highest levels that this was something worth investing 7 figures into, because they did. Jim Naggie's position didn't exist before last year, nor did that of Lake Dawson or Taylor Redd or Charlie Parkinson or yada, 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 go on down the list. All of those positions are brand new. And all those people make good money, too. They ain't coming here for $50,000.
Forward thinking, and there will be ROI on the field for Oklahoma in merchandise and ticket sales. So it was smart. It's, you think, if you're just going to cut costs by not creating that front office, well, you're actually making money by creating the front office, and Oklahoma was forward-thinking enough to see that.
We're due for a timeout, so let's take one as you guys continue to fire texts our way on the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439. Gotten some good feedback throughout the first segment. Want to get to some of your texts on the other side. Keep it here on the Ref. This is Locked In. Parker Thune, Josh Helmer with you. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is your home for Sooner fans. The Ref Sports Radio Network.
At Landers CDJR of Norman, it's the declaration of deals. Pick any new 2026 Ram Light Duty Crew Cab Bighorn or Laramie with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, or any new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Gladiator or Grand Cherokee in stock, and we're giving you big dealer discounts and 0% financing for 60 months with no payments for 90 days. Shop LandersCDJRNorman.com for straightforward internet pricing with no special add-ons when you get here. 0% financing must finance with Stellantis Financial for well-qualified buyers.
Hey guys, it's Dory Noka. Have you been involved in an auto accident? If so, it's time to contact the OKC Car Crash Clinic of Dr. Martin Lopez. He's a board-certified and fellowship MD with unparalleled training and experience. Dr. Lopez works with a great team of healthcare professionals and attorneys to help you achieve the best physical and financial recovery. Contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH or at okccrash.com. Don't forget to listen every week to the Dory Noka Show for the Impact Player of the Game, brought to you by Dr. Martin Lopez.
Are you ready for spring sports season? Gear up like a champion with Balfour & Norman's exclusive apparel for OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics. From the diamond to the gym, we've got the latest shirts, hats, and fan gear that show your Sooner pride in style. Whether you're cheering in the stands or repping your team around town, Balfour of Norman has you covered. Visit us today on Campus Corner or online at crimsonproud.com. Balfour of Norman, where you'll find everything Sooner.
Entrepreneurs and More Norman in South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. More Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, More Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about More Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland and Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Hey, it's Dory Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch at Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army, just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
Hey, have you been noticing a problem with your vehicle's transmission? You do not want to wait on that situation. You need to get it looked at now. Bring it by AMCO and let their professionals check it out for you. With their free vehicle courtesy check, they can help pinpoint the problem and then offer options for repair. And financing is available at all locations. AMCO, Norman, Midwest City, Oklahoma City, Edmond, Yukon, and Tulsa.
Love is in the air right now at Eskridge Honda. You'll love these great deals with savings of $2,500 off new Honda Accord Tourings, CR-V Sport Tourings, and Ridgeline RTLs. That's $2,500 off 25 of our new Hondas in stock. Love your Honda vehicle and save now at 89th and I-35 or online at eskridgehonda.com.
$2,500 off MSRP. Dealer discount only. Not contingent with Honda incentives. See dealer for details.
I think this is a great way to really encapsulate the way that Oklahoma goes about talent acquisition under Jim Naggie in this front office. This comes from a listener in the 405 who says via the First Liberty Bank text line, I think we pump all the great things about our program and show we aren't about the bag and then drop a bag anyway. And there's a lot of truth to that. Now, to be clear, Oklahoma's not going above and beyond market value for any singular player. And philosophically, they're not about that. They never have been. They never will be. Naggie himself has said as much on numerous occasions because he comes from the NFL, which obviously is a salary cap league. You have to be intentional about your investments in the NFL. And there's a lot about his quarter-century-long career in the National Football League that has influenced the way that he does business as Oklahoma's GM, Josh. But make no mistake, I think the big difference between the way that Oklahoma's recruiting in the 27 cycle and the way they've recruited in the last 4 or 5 cycles spanning the NIL era to date is that they're not cheaping out. And they're not lowballing dudes, and they're not cajoling you to try and commit to a culture and a family and a championship environment.
They're coming to the table with reasonable offers.
Exactly. They're not pitching you all of that absent the presence of a strong offer of money as well.
Yeah, which you got to combine the two nowadays.
You have to, and there will be some guys, there will be very few these days, but there will be some guys that don't care about the money, and they just want to be part of a program like Oklahoma's that has the sole mission and that cares about their student athletes and that has a building full of people that are going to invest into and pour into those dudes every single minute of every single day. But
and maybe in a couple of instances want to be coached by Brent Venables or a specific coach on staff that, you know what, okay, I'll take a little bit less to come here to Oklahoma because I want to be coached by whoever it may be.
I would say that represents 20-25% of the guys that Oklahoma is going to engage with on the recruiting trail in any given year. The overwhelming majority are going to be guys that appreciate all of those things, no doubt. They're not going to be oblivious to or closed off from the impact that those factors can have on their lives and careers. But then their next question is going to be, yeah, but what's my check going to look like?
Sure.
What's my salary going to look like? Because I have a pretty strong idea in talking to many other programs across the country what the fair market value for my services is. Are you going to be willing to play ball in that ballpark? And we might have a deal at that point. And Oklahoma historically hasn't been great, not nearly as great as they have been under Naggie in getting within that ballpark and being willing to get within that ballpark too. I said it, man. It felt like I said these words a lot in the maybe 18, 24 months before Naggie showed up. It's not just about having the money. It's about having the willingness to spend the money. And there's more of a willingness to spend the money now under Naggie because Naggie knows, and all the people in that front office know, that you got to spend money to make money.
That's right.
And if you're playing in the college football playoff every single year and you're packing out the Palace, 84,000 strong every single Saturday, not just OU fans in the building either, but fans of some of the visiting SEC programs that are going to make their way to Norman year in and year out. And oh, by the way, you get past the financial speed bump of the transition to the SEC, which did have an impact on Oklahoma's athletic department.
Yeah.
And now you're getting a full share as a full-fledged member of the Southeastern Conference. You can open up the purse strings a little bit.
That makes sense, how you could be a little more spendy now that you've gotten past that, I don't know if you want to call it a hiccup, but just that initial hurdle of a very real reality that you had a big exit fee to pay the Big 12 Conference and you didn't have the full SEC share, but now you do, and that means, yes, Oklahoma can play ball. both in the transfer portal retention and, of course, now in this 27 class, as we're seeing.
S. Rob Booman on the text line, 405-651-3439, says, the culture angle appears to be a differentiator or enhancer to the basic monetary offer. And, yeah, that's what it has to be these days. Fundamentally, you're not going to be able to sign a kid these days without a monetary offer that is at the very least in the ballpark of what would be considered market value. But if you're going to differentiate or enhance, to use your language there, S. Rob Booman, if you're going to differentiate or enhance your offer from all the other offers that may be on the table for a certain kid, it certainly helps when you have things like the Soul Mission, when you have a coach like Brent Venables, when you have the tradition and prestige that is inherent to the football brand at the University of Oklahoma. And I think here in 2026, we see all of those factors colliding into what has been, to this point in the 2027 recruiting cycle, a perfect storm for Oklahoma. Somebody, I can't remember who, I genuinely cannot remember who pointed this out to me, or I would give them credit. I had this conversation recently with somebody that pointed out for the first 3 to 4 years of the NIL era, there were programs dropping bags left and right to try and buy a championship. Texas Tech has only come around in the last 18 months, maybe?
Yeah.
But it used to be, I say used to be as if it was that long ago. It was like 2022 we're talking about.
Yeah,
but
in the old days.
Texas A&M was spending obscene amounts of money to sign elite recruits. Miami was doing the same thing. Oregon was doing the same thing. Texas, to an extent, has done the same thing. Tennessee as well. Think about the deal that they brokered to get Nico all the way to Knoxville from the state of California. There were programs pouring money and more money and more money into their rosters and into talent acquisition. That was kind of their first foray, their first objective when the NIL era opened up and we got the wild, wild west in college football. Some programs, their first order of business was to just go buy players.
Yeah.
Buy insane recruiting classes.
We're going to outspend you.
Exactly. What Oklahoma was doing during that time is, as you recall, I think NIL, it was July of 2021 that it became legal. Brent Venables took over as head coach in December of 2021. And for the first 2 or 3 years, Oklahoma was not so much concerned with spending $30 million on a roster every single year. Their first objectives under Venables were to get the culture right, get the leadership right, get the organizational structure right. And maybe this was all by design and maybe it wasn't, but I think all along somebody in that building, if not everybody, had to realize, hey, we're Oklahoma. We're in the SEC now. We're always going to have a decent amount of money to spend. Our piggy bank is not going to end up empty one day. And so while all of these programs are engaged in the arms race for talent in an overinflated market, what if we just focused on establishing all the more sustainable aspects of our program and making sure we have those things in order, making sure we have our house in order before we start joining the fray and doing what all of these other teams are already doing? Because when it comes time to fight those battles, we're going to be better equipped because of the structure that we've created and the ecosystem that we've created.
And I think it sounded like in those early days that Oklahoma, whether it was Parker out of an abundance of caution, was hesitant to spin, almost as though they just wanted to see, okay, what exactly is this market? What does this new era look like? At times, it was maybe the philosophy of Oklahoma that no, we're not going to be about money. We're not going to just go about acquiring players. And then kind of you realize, wait a second, okay, that is just going to be a part of this new era of college football. But it certainly seemed as though initially Oklahoma, Joe Castiglione, President Harris, Brent Venables, whoever it might have been before Jim Nagy and others arrived here, that Parker, they just didn't want to go spin because that's not what they believed in, and they wanted to let the waters calm down a little bit, to speak, first to get an idea. Okay, where are we? What world are we living in? What is this new age of college football?
The majority of Oklahoma's problems right now in 2026, the majority of the problems from which the Oklahoma football program suffers are first world problems, which is a nice place to be. Santa John, for instance, on the text line says, not only will other schools try to poach our early offers moving forward, but once they decide to invest in a front office based upon the OU model, they will be coming after OU's front office personnel.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. And, that's the dark side of the moon, if you will.
Winners get
when
poached.
Things are going well. You're winning games. You're having success. Everybody wants your personnel. Everybody wants to hire away the guys and gals that are making a difference within the organization.
That have learned how Jim Nagy ticks a little bit.
Exactly.
Like, wait a second, who knows how he operates and who can bring that here?
And I don't think Jim Nagy is leaving anytime soon. But shoot, man, you got to be thinking about some of the people that he's surrounded himself with in that front office and some of the offers that they're probably going to have in front of them.
To be expected.
In the years to come. Like, Taylor Redd is probably not far off from having some high-level GM offers thrown his way. Stacey Ford, with as much of a recruiting ace as he has been, especially on the West Coast for Oklahoma, man, somebody's going to probably come along at some point and offer that dude a substantial raise from what he's making at Oklahoma. And so there's probably going to be some evolution within the office. And you're going to have to replace good people with new good people. And when you identify individuals that you feel like you cannot lose at any cost for the value that they provide, then
pay to keep them.
You got to be willing to pay to keep them.
Yep.
Yeah. So first world problems.
Good problems to have. If you can have those problems, it means that step number one has been accomplished.
Yeah.
And maybe step number two. Number one, get good players on campus. And then step number two, win with good players on campus.
Yeah, Randy from Miami says, all this structure is good, but I'd love to have Cody Campbell or Mark Cuban as donors.
Can we combine the structure with those guys being on campus too?
I guess Cody Campbell's got a kid, right? He's got a kid that's like class of 29 or something like that. Just get him to OU. See if Cody Campbell wants to kick a little NIL money in the Sooners' direction. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know that Oklahoma's ever going to be swimming in money the way that Texas Tech and Miami and Oregon are.
And unfortunately, it seems like Mark Cuban now is he's all bought in on Indiana. If he wasn't given cash beforehand, they've certainly interested him now.
Winning does that, man. Winning does that. And that's why we'll continue to talk about it. Oklahoma's got the chance to start building something really, really special if they can go back to the college football playoff, win a game this time, and maybe make some noise in the national championship hunt this season in 2026, because when the results on the field and the results on the recruiting trail are on similar levels and everything is well aligned within the organization and there are no squeaky wheels and everything's operating at peak efficiency and the results are manifesting on the field and on the trail, then, man, that's what it looks like. In this day and age, that's what a championship program looks like. And Oklahoma right now is trending in the direction of being a championship program. And the differentiator between being a championship team and being a championship program is a championship team is one team, 1 year. And maybe they're back there the next year, maybe they're not. A championship program is a program that has the talent in place, has the leadership in place, has the organization in place to be in that hunt and be in that conversation every single year without fail. And that's what you hope, that's what you expect at Oklahoma.
You know, I know it's certainly not apples to apples, but that's some of what Sam Presti has talked about with the Oklahoma City Thunder is, I don't want to build a championship team. I want to build a dynastic organization. And obviously Sooner fans are hoping that they can have that here with Oklahoma football, somebody that can win right here, right now. Parker, I don't want to wait. I want to win now and then, continue to sustain and win into the future.
More of your texts, and we'll wrap up the show coming up next here on Locked In. Parker Thune, Josh Helmer here with you on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
This is your home for Sooner fans. The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it expanding your balance. Spend it expanding your mind. Spend it wondering what comes next. Spend it trusting that God has a plan. Spend it taking small steps in your own life. Spend it making a big impact on someone else's. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Big trucks, big power, and big savings are here during Ford Truck Month at Confidence Ford of Norman. For a limited time, you can save a total of $14,000 on a new 2025 Ford F-150 or save $13,500 on a new 2025 Ford Super Duty F-250. And when it's time for service, trust our top-rated service center and Ford-certified master technicians. Come visit us today at 825 North Interstate Drive or visit us online. Confidence Ford of Norman, a Cavender family dealership where confidence is Cavender.
Warren Cat is a proud sponsor of the KREF app and Sooner Athletics. Our new store off I-35 in Norman is ready to support your equipment needs. From industry-leading Cat compact machines to reliable lift and electric power solutions, we have rental, purchase, and finance options to get you to work quickly. Plus, world-class parts and service to keep you up and running. Visit us in Norman. Click on the Warren Cat logo in the app or search Warren Cat. Whatever the job, whatever it takes.
Are you living with chronic pain, mental fog, addiction, or sleepless nights? At OK Theta and Wellness, husband and wife team Dina and Chad, a nurse practitioner and neurosurgeon turned wellness coach, have helped people find relief for years. Their unique brain-centered approach uses innovative technologies to nurture your well-being and transform your body and mind. From the EECP machine for cardiovascular health and improved blood flow to the Theta chamber for sleep and emotional balance to the StemWave and Morph device for pain relief. This is a new path forward. Visit oktheta.com today.
Want a chance to win big with your bracket this March? The Refs Bracket Challenge is back, and we are once again the home of winning big amidst the madness this March.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Just visit kref.com/bracket and click the link to join the Refs Bracket Challenge to see if you have what it takes to best our hosts and the rest of the Ref Army for a chance at March glory.
Do it! Just do it!
The Refs Bracket Challenge is brought to you by Louie's Grill & Bar. Louie's Grill & Bar is the perfect spot to watch your bracket look brilliant or get busted this March. Visit louisgrillandbar.com for a location near you. Make the right call. Join the Refs Bracket Challenge by March 19th before games tip off, and you'll have a chance to win big. Courtesy of Louie's Grill & Bar, the home of Sooner fans and the home for the best giveaways this March.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to thrive by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities, and support on their path to employment. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full potential. Learn more about Children International by going to children.org today.
We had a former OK Preps icon go pseudo-viral today, Josh Helmer. I don't know if you saw this. There was some random video from Vanderbilt practice.
Yeah.
Where one of their wide receivers is slapping hands with a wide receiver who's substantially shorter than him. Looks like a little kid compared to all the other wide receivers in line. Yeah, it's Caleb Barnett, formerly of Broken Arrow High School.
Nice.
So I knew he was small. I recall him being like 5'6", 5'6" when he was at Broken Arrow. He was listed at 5'8". He's not 5'8". But man, it really puts it into perspective when you see the video of him on the practice field with a bunch of receivers that are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Yes, there is a height differential.
Chris from Knoxville on the text line says, I know soccer isn't a major talking point for us, but holy crap, Barcelona, what did Newcastle do to piss you off? Any insight there, Helmer? I have no idea what Chris from Knoxville is talking about.
No, I do not have thoughts on FC Barcelona versus Newcastle, though I can see 7-2. That's pretty dominant.
It's not the type of football we talk about here.
That's right.
We are into El Futbol Americano here at the Ref. Deer Creek Sooner wants to know, hey, Parker, who is the next OU football commit? I assume you're talking about El Futbol Americano, Deer Creek Sooner.
I would guess
I'm assuming
so.
You're talking about gridiron football. Who's OU football's next commit, man? I don't know. There's not an obvious answer there. Sometimes there is. Right now, there's not. If you made me bet, I would probably say Gus Corsair, the 4-star offensive lineman out of Hays, Kansas. Just because, he's taken a bunch of visits this spring, but Oklahoma has set such a high bar that it's going to take a lot. It's going to take something truly bizarre for him not to wind up in Oklahoma's signing class. It's just a matter of when he officially pulls the trigger. And so that's the guy that I would say is closest right now to locking in with Oklahoma. The three that are at the top of my list, and this list hasn't changed since the last time somebody asked this, which was about a week ago. It's Gus Corsair, it's Bodie Sparrow out of the state of Utah, safety offer. And then the other one would be Sione Falila, the 3-star defensive lineman out of the state of California. Those are the three I'm eyeing. We get a surprise? Perhaps. I mean, guys get on campus for spring practice visits. Stuff happens. Maybe Oklahoma pops one out of nowhere. But right now, man, I think it's one of those three. That's my best guess that I would hazard. I know there are many that are going to want me to say Gabe Osborne, and I'm not there. That is a high-dollar recruitment. Do I like where Oklahoma's positioned? Of course I do. They lead, no question about that. But that one's not wrapping up tomorrow.
Gotcha. There's more work to be done there.
A lot of it. You know what's crazy? And, I see on the screen in here, Helmer's sitting here scrolling through Oklahoma's list of commits in the 2027 cycle. The Sooners have a larger class right now than their class on signing day 2 cycles ago.
That's crazy.
The class of 2025, the class headlined by Michael Fasusi, 18 signees in that class. Oklahoma in March, 9 days out from early signing day, already has 19 committed in the class of 2027.
And you think plenty of room still ahead to keep adding and adding.
Yeah, it would not shock me if this class is north of 30 commits.
Tyson Ross? That's the alma mater, man. That's Andover High School.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was your alma mater. How
Yeah.
about that? Yes. And an Andover Trojan.
Yeah, ask him next time you chat. Ask him about Trojan Night.
Trojan Night, is that a thing?
Yeah, he'll know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'll ask him. Trojan Night, it seems a little ambiguous. You sure he's going to know what I'm talking about?
No, he'll know.
Okay.
He'll know.
Just checking.
No question.
Just checking. U.S. Army Sooner says the front office personnel are just like assistant coaches. I don't want an offensive coordinator that other teams don't want to hire. Yep. Get used to it, folks. Things keep going this way for Oklahoma. Those front office personnel are going to be hot commodities across the rest of the country. Give it 3 years. 3 years, I would say. And Taylor Redd's going to be a GM somewhere. That dude is Jim Nagy's right-hand man.
Yeah. And that's good. That's somebody, did you just read the text about, you want your front office folks to basically be assistant coaches? And that's right. That's in a well-functioning, successful organization. Parker, that's just the nature of doing business. Successful business means that guys are getting hired away to basically be the next Jim Nagy somewhere else.
I love this text from Colin Claremore. This is a die-hard, locked-in listener right here. I didn't know Helmer was white. Oh, I guess I had a couple curly strands of hair fall down on my forehead earlier, and Denver from Indiana said, I like the look, Parker. You watched Grease last night?
Hey, great movie. Classic.
Oh, man. I don't think I've ever actually watched Grease.
I don't think I have, start to finish. I've definitely seen it in bits and pieces a lot, but I don't know that I've ever finished the movie Grease, which is basically that's a cardinal sin to have never finished that movie. That's a classic. You should have probably seen it start to finish at some point, at least once.
Good question from Reformed Homer here. With the star average, will OU hold the top spot throughout in the 2027 class? They're going to have a good shot, Reformed Homer. And you look at some of their lower-ranked commits in the class, and this is a perfect example of what Jim Nagy's talking about when he says, and he says this quite frequently, we don't care what the recruiting services think of a certain player. Maybe I'm the idiot here. Probably am. But I challenge you to go watch Michael Davis's tape, the 3-star Oklahoma cornerback commit from Desert Edge High School in Arizona. Tell me that's not a blue-chip player. And the same could be said for a guy like Tyson Ross up there at Andover. He's played 1 year of offensive line. He's played 2 years of competitive football. That's somebody that could he be a 3-star still? When signing day rolls around, absolutely he could be. But because he's so new to the sport and because he's taken to it so fluidly, because the athletic tools that he developed over the course of his childhood playing tennis,
he was
of
a
all
tennis
sports,
player?
Have translated so quickly to the gridiron in addition to just the natural size and strength that he brings. That's somebody that even if he signs with Oklahoma as a 3-star, he could wind up having the type of career where retrospectively, you look back and you're like, how was that kid ever a 3-star? Well, it's because he didn't start playing football at all till his sophomore year of high school because he was a tennis guy.
And offensive line coaches will tell you that your feet are so important. And to know that somebody has that tennis background is not a bad thing because obviously you got to have great feet to play tennis. Not a lot of great tennis players that I can recall coming out of Andover High School. Golf, a couple of those. Soccer, yes. Tennis, that'd be out of left field.
Outlaw Devil asks, if a front office person leaves, where do you look for a replacement at better or equal value? Locked in is where you look. They're going to interview me and Josh if a front office position opens up.
That's right.
We will be ready and willing to jump into the Oklahoma front office machine.
Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be on the opposite side of the glass where they're looking.
Jim in Arlington says, Parker, how many individuals are invited to rank recruits with stars, and are you ever invited to do that? It's a council, a national council. It depends on the service, but there are usually 5 or 6 people that have a hand in the rankings for a given service. I am not one. I offer my insight to those guys. Sometimes they listen to me. There have been times in the past where the feedback I've gotten from them has been, like, wow, we really hadn't studied this guy super in depth, but when you shot his name to us, we took a deeper dive into him, and yeah, you were right. We're going to be moving him up quite a bit. And so sometimes I can be helpful in that regard. It's not my job. I am not directly involved in the rankings process. Nobody outright asks me, hey, where do you think we should rank this kid? Any feedback I offer, any opinions that I offer are generally unsolicited. Sometimes that advice is heeded, sometimes it's not. For me, I just love doing what we do, every single weekday here at 2 p.m. here on Locked In, which is talking about the recruiting class, talking about the recruiting landscape on a broader spectrum, and talking about all of it as it relates to the OU football machine. That's really what makes it fun. Talking about it, writing about it is fun enough, don't get me wrong. Talking about it, it's a blast for an hour every single weekday.
Less work on the talking side as compared to the written side.
Well, there's just so much you can say and communicate in a given window. You know, I can talk a lot faster than I can write.
And if you've already done all the writing, then it's upstairs. You just boom.
Amen to that. We have fun on this show. We always do. We hope you guys have fun as well, and we hope you'll come back with us tomorrow for another fine installment of Locked In. For now, for us, that's it. The Rush is next. Keep it here on the Ref.